un tiburón nadando en el agua.
Buenos días, ¿cómo estás?
For young children, language development is primarily about oral language. It's about learning to speak and listen and engage and use language in that way. But they also are living in a print world. And in preschool, they're at the very beginning of a journey that is fundamentally going to be about literacy and reading and writing as well. So the relationship between that oral language that they're so engaged in developing and the beginnings of engagement with text is really important in a SEAL classroom.
Es esta foto. ¿Qué ven en la foto?
Pumpkin.
Ajá, es una calabaza. ¿Pueden decirlo conmigo? Calabaza. Voy a escribirlo aquí arriba porque es nuestro título. Díganlo conmigo. Calabaza. Calabaza. Ok. Es una palabra un poco largo. So, quiero ver si ustedes me pueden ayudar contando las letras. ¿Me ayudan? ¿Sí? Ok, vamos a ver. Empezamos con la C. Contamos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8.
¡Oh! ¿Cuántas letras hay?
8.
8 letras. Es una palabra larga.
Too often, though, I think people think of, oh, preschool, early literacy, pre-literacy, we teach them the alphabet, and that's what it's all about. But really, it's something much deeper and broader than just that.
Digan conmigo, calabaza pequeña.
First, what we need children to understand is that what can be said, all of this language that's used around them, can be written down, that those marks on a page represent sounds, and those sounds put together represent words. So what is said can be written down, and once it's written down, it can be read back. It's preserved, and it's there to be read.
Let's use this big word, right? Let's use the scientific word. You ready for that challenge, Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Okay. Cow's diet includes grass.
One of the fundamental ways to really understand how text works, and also to begin to understand writing and what it means to create text, is for children to see writing actually be done in front of them as the words are being said. So children are hearing it and seeing that print.
A la oveja de la cola.
Ok, la oveja.
La cola.
Tiene, ¿qué?
Cola.
Cola.
Or it may be their words turning into print. I can tell my teacher or tell this adult this story or this idea I have or what's going on in this drawing I made, and she can write down my words. That association between the act of writing, the turning into print of what is being said orally, is the basic foundation for literacy.
I brought my friend with me today. We really should give him a name, right? It's a big ant. What should we name that ant? What about, what's the name that starts with the letter A? Do you have a friend whose name starts with the letter A in class? Could be...
Abel.
Abel starts with the letter A. So this insect is called an ant. So can you come up and write the letter A right here for us, please? A.
Like a
Very
rainbow.
good. It's like a rainbow. You are correct. And what comes next? N. The letter N. Do we have a friend who starts with the letter N? Or maybe
Nina.
Nina. So I'm going to write the letter N, kind of like a rainbow also, right? N. Ant. And then there's one more letter at the end. Ant.
T.
T. Would you like to write the letter T for us? Ant. Perfect. And together, these 3 letters. Let's count how many letters. 1, 2, 3. And when we write these 3 letters together, it says ant. Ant. Very good.
In addition to recognizing that print, that those squiggles on paper represent words, we want children to see the words in books and to see books as this wonderful, rich resource. We want to engage them with books.
Let's see, what's for dinner? It says, most ants catch and eat other insects. So already we know that they like to eat.
The red one, he eats ants.
Children love to be read to. They love books, and that's important. But there's something beyond that that needs to happen. They need to be engaged in talking about what they're reading. They need to be engaged in predicting and summarizing what's going on in a story. And they need to then be engaged in retelling it, making it their own.
With no sign of stopping. She says, diddle-dee-do.
Oh, what shall I do?
This is how, they learn narrative and how narrative works. It also gives them that delightful sense of real engagement in the production of that narrative.
Dishes crashed down the ground. Estella held tight to her music box to keep it from blowing away. She's really protecting her music box. Ask your partner, what just happened in the story? What just happened in the story?
The music box was so hard, and then he got it to sleep.
I heard Caroline saying she's saving her music box, and I heard Benjamin say the wind was coming, and the wind was so strong. So what did she do with her music box?
Protecting it.
She is protecting it. Great word, Elias.
Going back to that basic notion that what's in a book was written by somebody, that they were words that came from somebody, and therefore I can write something. My words can be written down. We want children to see themselves as authors.
Can I have Jada, Abdullah, Jace, Kayla, and Dow come in here and share your research book? So you said the sea turtle also eats jellyfish and fish. It has flippers to swim. What would you like to tell me about your drawing, Kayla?
I just put water, and I just put some purple sand.
In a powerful early education classroom, children are producers of knowledge, as well as producers of language, and as well as learners of things. So if we're doing a unit on farm animals and have been studying cows and pigs and etc., we want children to be able to pursue what animals they're interested in and to become the researchers. But then what do you do with knowledge in order to share it? Well, one of those early literacy things is we create products, we create books, we create writing, we create things that can then share it with the rest of the class. And that process, that sense of authorship and ownership of knowledge is one of the important things that we want to instill in young children.
Abdullah, what would you like to tell me about your drawing?
I got eyes.
How many?
1, 2.
2 eyes, and what else?
A shell
A shell where?
right here. Another lay eggs on the sand.
The turtle lay eggs in the sand.
Starting to hatch. Hatching.
It's hatching. Their research will be added to our library area. So when you guys want to look and learn more about sea turtles, you can ask Jada, Abdullah, Jace, Kayla, and Dow to tell you about their story.
If we want our preschool classrooms to be places that really engage children with literacy and text, number one, we got to pay a lot of attention to the books that we have. Lots of books, a variety of books in different languages, some that's informational, some that's narrative, some that's fable, many different kinds of books because we want them to understand the full wealth of what resides in books.
On a windy autumn day, Marla Little comes running down the hill yelling, what is she? Help! My giant pumpkin is
Rolling away.
Secondly, we want children to be in an environment, in a classroom, where they are seeing text everywhere that's connected to real tangible things, chair, table, things labeled, but also things that have been labeled with them so that they recognize where that came from. They've heard the words. They know that word up there, that's udder. because I remember when the teacher drew the cow, she talked about the udder. There's a photo of an udder. So that association in a print-rich environment is essential in really creating young children that feel, oh, I get what text is about.
What did you want to tell me about the picture? What did you see?
Firefighter.
Yeah, what about the firefighter? Will you look at it?
Hose.
What? They have a hose? Okay, so the firefighters work together. I'm gonna write using a hose, okay? Using a hose. All right, the firefighters work together using a hose.
Third, children need daily, regular opportunities throughout the program, throughout the classroom, where they are writing, where they're giving dictation and be invited to write dictation, where they have a writing center they can go to anytime they want to create any of their writing and drawing, where they are engaged daily in the process of being writers.
Mientras todos jugaban, María se recordó. ¡Oh, ¡el anillo! Gritó María. Todos la miraron con sorpresa. ¿Qué anillo? Preguntaron sus primos. Sin responder, María corrió hasta la cocina. Oh, oh.
Finally, reading can't just be a mechanical task. When we read to children, we need to read with feeling. They need to really get engaged in the language and in what it is that we're saying. Most preschool teachers engaged in this endeavor are going to change some of the words in those books because a lot of early childhood books use the most simplistic language possible when our kids are capable and hungry for so much more. So build in expressive language. Read it expressively. Give our children the language they need.
So recuerden que todos tenemos diferente pelo en nuestra familia. Mamá, papá, tu tía, tu tío, tu abuelito, tu abuelita, con quien tú vivas, tiene el pelo diferente. Gracias a Pelitos y Colorín Colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. Si les ha gustado mucho, un aplauso por favor. Y si les encantó mucho, ¡bravo!